but yesterday's class was about idioms, and a really brief review about idioms is that these are expressions or phrases which are unique to a language and they can't be translated directly. So idioms. And in your language, this might be a false cognate. If you have the word idioma in your language, it doesn't mean the same thing as in English. It's a false friend, a false cognate. So in English, idioms are expressions, right? Or sayings that are unique to a language. So in English, there are, of course, many idioms, and today we're going to look at 4 of them. But before we begin, it's important to understand a couple of things, as that these are figurative. That means they are not literal. These are not literal phrases, so they're figurative. And by that, I mean you cannot translate them word for word. If you try to translate them word for word, you're going to have a hard time because
No sense.
yeah, it won't make sense, right? So that's the first thing. You can't really translate these, or it's very difficult. You're probably going to get a wrong translation. So with that being said, let's go to the material for today. And hello to everybody who's joining, who I haven't spoken to yet. If there's any new students who are coming in, I'll get to know you at the end of class. Okay, so we'll start with Jawida. And here's our warm-up speaking question for the day. So Jawida, what time do you usually hit the sack? Is it earlier or later than when you were a kid?
Okay. Okay. What time do you usually hit the sack? Is it later when you were a kid? I think it's later.
Okay. So can we make a sentence like this?
Yes. I usually hit the sack at
What time?
later.
So hit the sack, go to bed. What time do you usually go to bed?
No, early. At 6 p.m. I.m.
Okay.
That's early, yes.
Yeah, so let's repeat the phrase. And right here, we're going to say a time. Hit the sack is go to bed. Like, what time do you walk to your bed and lay down to sleep? Like, for me,
usually,
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I usually hit the sack at 6 p.m. That's, I think, early.
Earlier?
Yeah, earlier. 6 p.m. It's earlier.
Than when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Thank you very much, Jawida. Let's go to Jessica. Okay, Jessica, what time do you usually hit the sack?
Hi, teacher. Hi, everyone. I usually hit the sack at between 12 or 1 in the evening.
Really?
Yeah, that's later than when I was a kid.
Wow, you go to bed late. That's late. I would be so tired. I can't stay up that late.
Yeah, due to my work.
Ah, okay. Never mind. I understand. Okay. Good. Very good. Okay, let's go to David. David, what time do you usually hit the sack? And is it earlier or later than when you were a kid? Oh, let me unmute you, David, and then you can try, or please unmute your own microphone.
Okay, and later, because I saw many movies or series, and maybe around 2 a.m.
Mhm.
or 1 a.m.
Okay, good.
later.
Good answer. Now rephrase your answer using this example for me, please, so that it's a
Okay,
little bit more natural
I
sounding.
usually hit the sack at 2 a.m.
Hmm.
Later.
And now
that's
please read the next phrase.
that's later than when I was kid.
Ah, okay, good, good. So you stay up late as well, but you're not staying up because you're working, you're staying up because you're watching movies, watching TV shows.
Okay.
Nice, very good. Yes, thank you, David. Good answer. For me, I'm a little different. I'm not a night owl. I'm a morning person. I used to stay up late, but now I usually hit the sack between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. I like to wake up early. I don't like, well, I have to wake up early for work, and I prefer to get up early anyways. So, yeah, I usually hit the sack at about, yeah, 9 p.m., 9:30, 10 o'clock. Um, Okay, so one more thing before we practice the idioms a little bit more. One really, just basic thing to keep in mind is that these are a little bit informal. Some of them are slang. So just, be sure that if you're in a very formal or professional situation, be careful about which idioms you use or who you use them with. They are a little bit informal, but this is definitely for with your friends or with regular Americans, regular British people, whatever. Everybody's going to understand them. They're really common, natural things. So, you should try to incorporate them a little bit into your speech. It makes you sound really good, and it makes your English sound like really high level if you can use one or two idioms correctly. So, with that in mind, I'd like to do something a little different than what we normally do. We normally don't practice like this, but since it's not a grammar lesson, it's not a it is a vocabulary lesson, but um sorry, somebody chatted me. Let me see what the message is. Where's my thing? Awesome. Okay, so um all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We've got four little situations here. Each little paragraph is a situation, and it's describing one of the idioms. So we have four idioms up here: through, thick and thin, hit the sack, see eye to eye, miss the boat. So I'm going to read you each situation and then think about the situation and try to tell me which idiom you think is the best description for the situation. So each situation will be best described by one of these idioms. And after I read it to you, I'll give you 20 seconds. 20 seconds or 15 seconds just to think. Think to yourself, and then I'll ask for people to volunteer and tell us the answer. So don't say it right away. I'll read it. I'll give you 15 or 20 seconds to think, and then I'll ask for volunteers to answer for me. Okay, so number one. Bobby has not turned in his final essay to his college professor. The professor gave Bobby 3 extensions, but Bobby has still not completed the assignment. Unfortunately, the professor had to give Bobby a failing grade in the course. 2 months later, Bobby emailed the final essay to the professor and asked if the professor could change his grade. The professor said, "No, I'm sorry, but you're much too late." So I'll give you 15 seconds to think. Which idiom best describes this one?
I am ready.
Okay, just one minute, please. Not even a minute. 5 seconds. Okay, David.
This means the boat.
Exactly. Yeah. So this one is best described by the idiom miss the boat, which really just means to be too late, right? Miss the boat. That means that you are too late. So it's an idiom, it's a phrase. This person did not actually miss a boat. Like there's no boat. It's just an expression, right? So one very important thing to understand though, grammatically, is miss in this context a verb, noun, adjective. What is it?
Verb.
Verb, yeah. So if the idiom starts with a verb, it
Yes.
must be treated like a verb. Past tense, present tense, future tense, present continuous, gerunds, right? It's a verb, so it still follows all the same rules of the verb. And that's why when I give you a synonym, I say be too late. You are too late. You missed the boat. You missed the boat. That's like saying you are too late. You missed the boat. Right? Like just like when the boat is gone, you can't get on the boat anymore. The boat is gone. If you're late to the boat, the boat leaves without you and you don't get to go on the boat. The boat does not come back for you. So you're too late. You missed the boat. All right. Very good. Number two. Two friends agree on everything, whether it's their favorite food or their favorite hobby. They never argue or disagree on anything. Okay, I'll give you 15 seconds to think about it.
See eye to eye.
Keyword being think. 10 seconds to think so everyone has a chance to think. And okay, which idiom do you think best describes this situation?
See eye to
Yeah.
eye.
Sure.
Yeah, good. See eye to eye means agree, right? So the phrase has the same meaning as something that's very simple. You all understand agree. See eye to eye.
Soda.
Is see a verb, a noun, or what is it?
It's a verb.
Verb.
Okay. Yes, exactly. So when you make a sentence, you must use it as a verb, right? For example, those two people don't see eye to eye. That means those two people don't agree. So it's like a verb, right? It's subject, verb, object. There's no object in this sentence, but still the same form. Okay, number three. Number three. I'm going to put you all on mute for 1 second, for un momento. Okay. Number three. When they got married, they promised to be with each other forever, in the good times and the bad times, through sickness and in health. So think about it, 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, thanks for raising your hand, Jawida. So go for it.
Okay, I think it's the first idiom, through thick and thin.
It is through.
Through, yes, through thick and thin.
Through, thick and thin. Yes, through. The pronunciation of that first word is through. This one is not a verb. It's a preposition. But basically, it means in good times and in bad times, through thick and thin. And someone had a question. Can I write see eye to eye in the past? Or any verb? Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely. You can use any of, if it starts with a verb, it can be written in the past or any tense, any grammatical tense or conjugation, like any other verb. But through is not a verb. Through is not a verb. So you cannot use it like a verb. So that's really important to understand. Through thick and thin, in good times and in bad times. For example, I'll be with you through thick and thin. He stayed with me through thick and thin. It's an expression, it's a phrase. So, okay, and the last one. Number 4, it's 2 a.m. and you haven't slept yet. You are so tired because you're writing your final essay, which is past the deadline. The professor gave you many opportunities, but you were a bad student and procrastinated. Now you really need to do this, but can't because you're writing your final essay. What do you need to do? You need to
Hit the sack.
hit the sack, which means go to bed. Uh-oh. You need to hit the sack, but you can't because you're up writing your essay. It's really late. Okay, so these are just 4 idioms. And you can try to put them into your speech. At the very least, you should understand that it's an idiom. And even if you don't understand the idiom, even if you don't understand this idiom, you should be able to recognize that this is an idiom. You should be able to think, oh my God, this is an expression. It's not a literal expression, it's figurative. Okay, let me look. Earlier or later than when I was a kid. Well, what time? Oh, maybe they're talking about going to bed or something. Like you should try to, even if you don't understand this, you can understand that it's an idiom. It's an expression of some type. And if you look at the context, you might be able to figure out the meaning, or you will at least understand the general meaning of what you're reading or what you're hearing. Okay, good job, everyone. That's basically